Hi, this is a brief video to go over the extra credit policy or how extra credit works. There are 30 total points of extra credit that I can give you credit for. If you do the 30 points, that raises your final grade in the class by 3 points. So it doesn't go towards an exam or a homework assignment. Just think of it as adding 3 percentage points onto your final grade in the class. There are 3 different ways to get extra credit. We'll talk about them and where you find them on Canvas. There's Mastering A&P, Radiolab, and Service Learning. Service Learning is community service, which you do as part of your class. It's supposed to reinforce whatever you learn in class. So that's 12 hours of community service, which is a lot of back and forth in time. So if you do that, that's your 30 points. Boom. You're done. So that would be all you would want to do because you're not going to get credit for anything else. Then there are Radiolabs and Mastering Anatomy and Physiology Dynamic Learning modules, I believe they are called. These you can mix and match, or you can just do all Radiolab or all Mastering, however you want to do it. There are 6 Radiolabs, 5 points apiece, 10 modules in Mastering for 3 points apiece. So all of this can be found at the bottom of the home page or the modules. So this is the modules page or the home page. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, here are all the assignments. In a separate, probably not video, just in class, I will tell you how to set up your Mastering Anatomy and Physiology account. Once that is set up, you can just click on these and it should take you right to the assignment. And then, let's see, if I hit student view, it should show you what the assignments look like. This is new. What is this? Let's just close that. I have no idea what that is. Oh, I see. It's going to show me student view if I let it load. Oh, there it is. I just should have given it more time. Match the cell structure with the product that it produces. Oh, I see. So the nucleolus, what does the nucleolus produce? It produces ribosomes. Oh, and then it's click once if you're unsure, click twice if you're sure. So this is unsure. I'm going to say I'm sure. There we go. Then hit submit. And it's, hey, you're sure and you're correct. So I just mastered that question. If I got it wrong, it would give me, let's get one wrong and just see what happens. Identify the stages of mitosis. Stage of mitosis labeled C. I'm going to call that prophase and hit submit. It says you were unsure and incorrect. Then you get another question. So that prophase question, it wasn't prophase, I just missed, will come up again. And I'll get as many chances as I need to answer it to get it right and be sure. So once you get all the questions right with confidence, you have mastered that dynamic study module. The one thing I should warn you about is that I cannot pick the individual questions. I can only pick the modules. And there is a fair amount of material that we don't cover in the class because we can't do the entire book. So there will be questions that do not relate to anything we've covered in class. And you just need to work your way through them because, again, I can't pick and choose. So that is way number 1. You do 10 of those, 3 points apiece. That's your 30 points. If you get tired of one halfway through and you've only got like 1 point or 2 points, I'll give you the 1 point or the 2 point. And again, you can mix and match those with Radiolab. These, I think, are the simplest way to get your extra credit because you're basically getting extra credit for studying, and it's all very straightforward. What the Radiolabs are is a radio show by a local NPR station, WNYC. And so these should work by clicking on them. And then there will be a Word document. And then you will open the Word document. I don't know what that external tools thing is here. Don't worry about it. Then the Word document should have a link in it. The link may or may not work. I made these pages a long time ago, and they've updated some of the Radiolab web pages, so it doesn't always work. This, I think, is just going to take us to Radiolab. It is not the, what is that called? Can't speak today. It is not the episode that we wanted, so that was Radiolab Morality. What I recommend you do then is just Google Radiolab Morality, and it should, there you go, first search, or first hit. Boom, that's the Morality website. So you listen to the show and then answer the questions as it goes through. This one has a little pre-assignment where I ask you to look up functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, because they use it in the show. So that's that. I should say most of these are on relatively big topics in science that relate to something that we're doing this semester. So morality is about what's going on in your brain when you're making moral decisions. Bioengineering is about playing around with DNA and stuff, so that's kind of chapter 3. Limits is the limits of human abilities, so it's kind of like the muscle chapter. Lost and Found and Where Am I both have to do with lost and found are people that are sort of neurologically lost or found. That one's a bit of a tearjerker at the end if you're a sensitive person. Where Am I is how your brain navigates the world, like what cells in your brain are responsible for knowing where you are, what direction you're headed, whether you need to turn left or right. And Placebo is all about the placebo effect. They're somewhere between 40 minutes and an hour. All you have to do is listen. The answers come in the order that the questions are written, so it's not all that hard. And they're mostly interesting. Some people don't like the sound editing because they add a lot of sound effects, and they do like a lot of just a lot of sound editing. It's kind of auditorily kind of jumpy. But a lot of people like it because it's not just a boring explanation of something or an interview. They try and make it like an interesting story, and the two hosts argue so that there can be some sort of conflict, or somebody's always playing devil's advocate. But it's a good show. If you like them and you want to listen to more, feel free. I will just say that they're no longer doing shows like this anymore. Is you can do a show on the neuroscience of morality, and then you have to wait 10 years till our understanding of the neuroscience of morality changes significantly. So you can't do these cool big questions very often. But that's what the first few years of the show were really, what is consciousness about, and how does your digestive system work, all this cool stuff. Last but not least, service learning. If you click on that, there is, oh my God, look at all those files. Most of them, well, many of them you can ignore. The instructions is just the instructions. Feel free to read those if you want to. Description, as it says, is a description of the service learning program and a description of the student engagement transcript that your service learning would go on. So that engagement transcript, includes things like sports and clubs and all of that, so that if you're transferring, the school that you are transferring to or applying to for transfer can know what a well-rounded good egg you are. So if you want to do it, what you are going to want to do is print out the registration form, and then go through the placements and find a place that'll allow you to do community service. I have two different files here, one for places where you're doing the service remote and one for where you're doing it in person. If you have trouble with those, I think they're Word files. If you have trouble with those, I have a PDF document that has everything like those mixed together, but I didn't post it because there's already enough files here. So you look through those documents. They're probably pretty long, so don't print them. And find a place where you think you would want to do community service. Then you bring the registration form and have them sign it, and then I sign it. That goes to the Service Learning Office. When you do your community service, you bring your timesheet. They sign it, I sign it, then it goes to the Service Learning Office. So once the registration form and the timesheet are complete and filed with Service Learning, then you are done. For Service Learning, it'll go on your engagement transcript. But if you want the 30 points for the class, you have to answer these prompts here and write a 1, maybe 2-page reflection paper on what an amazing transformative experience Service Learning was, and just how much it reinforced everything that you learned in the class. So that is extra credit in just under 12 minutes. I think I covered everything. Let me know in class or shoot me an email if you have questions.